what this new Dignitas lineup can do.
Yeah, and it's a big testing game here for Dignitas. Being 3-1 after being a team playing in the promotion tournament, a win here would give them temporary control of, sole control of first place in the entire North American LCS.
Yeah.
Same can be said for Team Solomid, because obviously coming into this week we have 5 teams tied for first place at 3-1. And the question will always be this week, do we see Ekko? Because, you know, based on last game's Ekko, again, Ekko had a good start to the game, but then wasn't really able to snowball the team to victory. We're kind of seeing that pattern again and again. One thing I always find with new champions when you haven't put in hundreds of games on them is laning phase is what comes first. That's what you learn.
Sure.
But actually finding mastery of them over in team fights is then the hardest thing to do. And that's where we're seeing a lot of these Ekkos fall apart. Whether it's from the champion kit or from the player skill, undecided.
And it's interesting too, because even when they do succeed in scrims, we tend to see that scrims end up being like a lot looser and like crazier things happen, and the more one-on-one based champions do well in scrims. The team's like, oh, Ekko works so well, I just keep killing the mid laner. It's like, well, yeah, but you're not on stage. It works differently. Yeah.
Notice if you add the pick rate and the ban rate together for Kalista, it's a very big number.
I'm going to say it's at least 90.
Valuable first pick there for Team Solomid on the Kalista thus far. No Gragas or Rek'Sai banned, so those are the 2 junglers that we're most likely seeing in this game. Team Dignitas gets first crack at if they want one, or if they want to play the Ekko game, because TSM is almost daring them to do so right now.
Or even both. Alistar off the table. There are enough team fight mids to make you not too afraid of grabbing one right away, because there's always a Victor or a Vladimir chilling in the side as well.
Oh, is this Fizz time?
Is it Clarity Clairvoyance Fizz?
I mean, that's even better than Smite Teleport in my book.
All right, so Fizz either for the mid lane or the top lane then, as Rek'Sai's already been locked in for Helios. That's going to be his breakout champion here in his first game on Dignitas. And the flex pick Fizz with being on red side means they can flex at the very last pick.
It's true. Even though Fizz doesn't feel like the type of champion Shiphtur has been playing of late, he's found success on Azir, Vlad, Azir, and Kog'Maw. So the long-range poke champions or the late-game hyperscalers. Fizz got to play much more aggressive in the early game. I think it would be a top lane Fizz if we've seen it.
Most likely.
It has so much play in the LPL. The Cinderhulk, Smite, top lane Fizz. It recently kind of broke out a bit in the European LCS with Soaz having a very successful game on it. Maybe now we get to see it in North America.
Man, talk about fan favorite picks right here. If they lock both those in, they just need Poppy to round it out, and everyone would love Team Solomid here. They're taking plenty of time in this one. Bard is going to be there for Lustboy, and someone's going to be playing Ekko for Team Solomid.
Yeah.
And the timer actually reset itself, but I'm pretty sure they're still picking Ekko. That happened last week in Challenger as well. For some reason, a champion got locked in right at the last second and the timer reset.
Yeah, that's...
So I assume they're still playing Ekko.
We'll go with that.
Well, no, here's the thing. It's Ekko. You have to see him twice.
He turned back time when you locked him in. He's so amazing. He gives them time. The enemy gets more time to think about their pick. That's
it's before his device got injured, because he went back 60 seconds and not 4. So we're like past life Ekko, you know. If you read the comic, right, it got like damaged or whatever.
It's a great comic.
Yeah, it was really fun to read.
Okay, so, hey, there it is.
You want to make really sure that Ekko is okay.
Ekko's in now. Okay, that's the 2 newest champions to the league that TSM has picked right here. And if...
Is it the 3 newest?
It's another one of those flex. I'm probably missing Azir or something. I think Azir was in there.
Yeah, I forget. Either way, sorry, we're getting way off topic. I apologize, Jatt. I'm really dragging you around here. But Morgana and Sivir are the pickups for Dignitas. So KiWiKid, his, I believe, second Morg game this split.
Yeah, you are correct. Today I learned, actually. I was telling you earlier. I was going to ask you, did you know? And then you would have said you did, because I told you earlier. Coming into this game, KiWiKid and Lustboy were the only supports in the North American LCS to play a different support in every game. That breaks today because they're doubling up on Morg games for KiWiKid and doubling up on Bard games for Lustboy.
Speaking of doubling out, how about a couple of tanks up in the top lane here? Solomid going to lock in Hecarim for Dyrus with Smite so far, and the Gragas in for Santorin. So you were right, both those junglers do show up, and the blind pick Fizz will be facing the pony up there. Interestingly, we typically see people like playing Fizz into the matchup, but Dyrus seems to not care too much.
Yeah, I see that as well. It's one of the champions that can kind of go toe-to-toe with the Hecarim, but at the end of the day, you're still going to be Hecarim. And they're both going to be affected. They fill very similar roles once they're both farmed up. It's also a lane where Fizz can farm up when he's against the Hecarim, and then can still provide a lot of AD carry threat.
Yeah, Fizz.
There's still a chance. There's still a chance of a flex pick here for Team Dignitas if they wanted to win.
That's true. You're right.
It's not going to happen.
Now the Kog'Maw here for Shiphtur, his second of the split as well, I believe, and he's looked down to the pick and ban rates. You mentioned Kalista being in every single game. Looks like Gragas has continued that trend as well. His pick and ban rates hit 100%. The AP Cog will come through for Shiphtur, but Kog'Maw into Ekko may be very scary. Definitely not a matchup I have played or seen played just yet. Bjergsen will be our second mid lane Ekko in 2 games here in North America.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to this one, especially early on in the laning phase. This should be something that Bjergsen wants to take heavy advantage of. Bjergsen in the spring split had a 10 CS differential at 10 minutes, so he was more than 10 CS up on his opponent. Shiphtur was -7 or so. Not to mention, Ekko has a stronger early laning phase than Kog'Maw. We could see a very large discrepancy in that laning phase, but the question will be how TSM translates that into the mid and late game, especially against that long-range Kog'Maw.
That's going to be interesting to watch for you. Ekko could not, at a certain point, Kog'Maw just outranges every single skill Ekko has on his kit, like combined.
Yep.
E4, then W at max range and Q afterwards. And you're like, yeah, you're still not even halfway towards me here. So we'll see if the sieging can work out and the poke can be strong. The coaches head their way off the field. The players now loading into the game. And so you guys at home can now join in. Send your Twitter predictions to us. Tweet #TSM winner, #DIG win to @LOL Esports. We'll see how you guys are voting once we are on the Rift here. Team Solomid, a whole lot of tanks. A Kalista with a Bard for setup, and Ekko wreaking havoc. Meanwhile, Dignitas with a lot of split pushing and an AP Cog in the back line.
And double TP Smite in the top lane, which is something we actually haven't seen much of in North America, even though it began as a trend many moons ago.
Yeah, back in playoffs.
Yeah. So I'm wondering if we're going to see some early gank pressure in those lanes. It is, of course, pretty difficult to gank those two if Dyrus is conservative with his E, and Gamsu
the same.
Also with his E, his Playful Trickster.
Yeah, I'm unsure, because you're right, it's flashless lanes, but it's the 2 best early gankers in the game that are commonly played.
Yeah.
Mid lane is actually fairly escapeless as well, relative to like the LeBlancs and Zeds of the world. Bot lane actually pretty good gank assistance on both sides. Kalista chain slow, Morgana bindings, but I don't know. I actually wonder if there's going to be any easy successful ganks. There's no like Annies running around, you know?
30 seconds until minions spawn.
Right now, Dignitas looked to set up a bait in their jungle. That does not happen though. No invade for TSM here. They actually invaded the bottom side of the jungle, and that's not where Dignitas was, so yeah. A Trinket Ward will spot a Gromp start.
Wildturtle already in top lane position, but completely unspotted to do so. TSM should almost assume that Team Dignitas is starting on their red side of the jungle only because the ward that TSM placed is saying that they didn't start at Gromp. So some intel gathered just because the ward didn't see anyone.
Mm-hmm. And they will not see Sivir and Morgana going for Gromp. Those two actually would do miserably at that. If they were a blue team, they could have taken the small Krug, but Gromp would suck. Meanwhile, TSM can take easily Gromp themselves. Kalista, Bard actually 2 of the better ones at it. And they're going to let Lustboy or Wildturtle tank about 2 to 3 attacks, then lifesteal up the rest, and Lustboy can just maybe chug a pot if he needs to. Won't even do that.
So that's really interesting. Dyrus used an early smite to help with the Krugs, then checked the lane, saw it was 2 people freezing, and then just ran away as quickly as possible.
Interesting.
Also, since TSM is wise to the ways of a Morgana harassing the red buff, decide to not even do it.
And this is smart. Lustboy right after the Gromp, beeline to the top side, essentially the same thing that KiWiKid had done. Mm-hmm. Trinket's pretty late in, gets spotted out by the Dignitas duo, but he'll be safe.
But here's the main difference. Team Dignitas both got level 2, and I feel like that's actually kill threat onto Lustboy if he walks near. Yeah, I really like what Team Dignitas, Helios, and Gamsu did with that. Instead of going Krugs to red buff to Raptors, they did Krugs to Raptors to double hit level 2, therefore can't be harassed off. And because Lustboy didn't run straight to the Raptors while they were still level 1s, he can do that well.
Lustboy, yeah, really likes harassing here, but Gamsu does have Playful Trickster, but so does the rest of TSM as 3 people show up to this top lane to join where Wildturtle already was, and they have cut off Dignitas. They will not allow experience to be gained in this lane. Dig have left their dual lane still to the bot side, and now Dyrus will TP to gain a 3rd lane worth of experience, and TSM should shoot out a little bit ahead as far as levels go in the early game. Ooh, he jumped into that.
Really interesting TP there by Dyrus. Knowing that there's max 2 people down bottom, he teleported in. It could have been matched by a Gamsu teleport to then 3v1 Dyrus and push him off that, but he teleported in with a timing that he was going to be getting a lot of CS regardless, so he has an experience edge now on Gamsu. Really just micro adjustments that are made early in this laning phase, seeming to favor TSM here.
And as they try to set up a freeze for this top lane, the rest of the Dignitas are heading up here. Gamsu did not teleport out, but keep in mind Santorin did recall away, but Dig will walk right through the Sentinel. Wildturtle will kill the turret and retreat away, and there will be no scuffle up in this top lane. Bjergsen versus Shiphtur is actually going Bjergsen favored right now. He's up 6 minions. And keep in mind, Shiphtur picked into this matchup.
Yeah.
So far is not a great early lead.
It seemed fairly obvious that Shiphtur is picking for the late game.
Yeah.
Mainly because that is what APCog does, and it's also what Shiphtur's found success on. What's interesting here is, with all the lane swapping, normally when you have these lane swaps, there's a lot of pressure applied mid lane, or potential pressure that needs to be respected. But there has been a lot of visions of the opponent this game. So like the top laner, jungler, support, and AD carry have pretty much all not been hidden in Fog of War for the majority of the game.
Yeah.
Therefore, the mid lane can actually get a little bit aggressive. And Bjergsen actually not applying that much pressure early on against Shiphtur's Kog'Maw. Now with double Dorans, we'll see if he can actually get a lead. If Bjergsen doesn't get a lead in that lane, it, to me, is considered lost lane.
I agree with you in this one. So we'll see if
Everything else I say you disagree, but this time...
Hey, whoa, well, not everything. Just, you know, most things.
Yeah.
It's fine. My puns are funny, for example. You don't think so, but that's all right. I forgive you for your lapse in judgment. TSM will be in their lane swap over a little bit longer. Lustboy's actually still roaming around the map. He is still level... Oh, no, he's 3. Sorry, I misread that. Lustboy has been gaining some experience over time, but still under-leveled somewhat. Dyrus is 4. 600 gold lead for TSM from the lane swap game. They managed to knock down the top turret off of that 4v2 sort of scenario.
Yeah.
And not nearly as much damage as dealt by the Dignitas duo. Once Dyrus TP'd in, Lustboy Magical Journeys over to a ward. He will not easily push this Fizz around, but you're seeing how far back Gamsu has to play. Both top laners very low in minions here.
It's true, but the main difference, of course, that turret, it wasn't even a turret trade. It was just because of Dyrus' teleport down to the bot lane. It's just an entire turret that TSM was able to get. Quite rare.
And it's interesting as well, TSM's lane assignment afterwards. They've left Wildturtle in the top lane. Oftentimes you see a turret go down, they'll recall for an item, and then try to like match the lane or knock another turret down. TSM are staying in this 2-on-1 without a turret, which completely zones Fizz away. He's under so much threat. Nearly undone. But like we saw this happen with Cloud9 when they played, I think it was Dignitas, when Balls was forced to play jungle Ryze.
Right.
The turret died. He was in a bad matchup that he couldn't deal with. It was Gravity, I think. And we're seeing the same thing happen where Gamsu is not allowed to lane, really. And this Fizz just doing nothing. Where Dyrus now has 27 CS, 29. It's still growing.
It's in these situations where KiWiKid needs to be the roamer that assists this. He needs to be helping Gamsu out in these lanes. He is not doing anything in the bottom lane to CoreJJ. He's not denying Dyrus. He's not saving CoreJJ, and it's allowing TSM to apply this huge amount of pressure. So it's really just KiWiKid not being able to follow Lustboy or the rest of TSM that's resulting in this really big turret damage on this middle turret. I don't think they'll get it, but man, that is a lot of damage on it.
Yeah, it's an itemless Kalista, and she's still getting it down to 1/4 health at this point. Dignitas now have 3 members defending, and it may be enough to scare everyone else away. But certainly a great thing for TSM. That turret does not regenerate, and the shield's only 30 points big, so the next trip over will certainly do plenty of damage.
Are they going to try
yes, they are.
Big old
There's
gank
the W.
on Shiphtur?
There's everyone. Shiphtur flashes and ghosts, and he will survive and nearly kills. He does kill Lustboy. The overextension on Bard.
Shiphtur says, please, what are you guys doing? He dodges all the CC with his flash. Lustboy takes too many turret shots. No one lands. onto Shiphtur. It did cost him both his summoner spells, but that is absolutely worth it. A 3-man gank onto Shiphtur, and he's the one that walks away with first blood.
And speaking of walking away, Wildturtle also found himself in a bit of a 1v2 in the top lane jungle and was forced to flash away from a KiWiKid binding. So now TSM, despite their great level 1 play, have started to get a bit farther behind by overstepping their bounds twice in a row. Dyrus, though, level 7 to Gamsu's 5. You don't want to fight that 1v1 if you're Dignitas.
Yeah. Macro game for TSM, much stronger than the macro game from Team Dignitas, but at the same time, TSM needs to be able to execute their plays. Kind of similar to what we saw last game, Teammate versus TDK, where Teammate had a superior macro game, but then messed up some things. Obviously, TSM still has a 900 gold lead here. Slight misstep for them, but it makes this lane where Bjergsen was supposed to be dominating Shiphtur kind of tilt in the other favor. Much faster trip to Luden's Ekko, and it means Shiphtur does have a small gold lead on Bjergsen.
Of about 70, but you're right. I mean, you said if Bjergsen doesn't win the lane, it's a loss, and he's certainly not winning the lane anymore thanks to that kill. Bjergsen's going for the same build Inox did, double Doran's Ring into Morellonomicon, so for all the mid lane Echoes out there, if you want to play like the pros, that's what we got so far. We'll see if he does the same Luden's Ekko cooldown boots build into Lich Bane. Bottom lane turret taking a lot of damage. Wildturtle does have a BF sword, but so does... Yeah, exactly. That's going to be a great binding. A lot of damage. Wildturtle could die to the Ignite, but he almost kills KiWiKid. But CoreJJ will get it instead. 2-0 Dignitas.
It looked like the Ren was going to kill, but then when it didn't, it baited TSM in for more kills, and another micro outplay there by Team Dignitas over TSM gives them a 2-kill-0 lead, popping the heal and the Ignite at the right times to negate Wildturtle's heal as well and get them the kill. Wow.
Well, TSM, though, still trying to play aggressively because while they might be losing kills in various lanes, they're still just farming the map so much better. They're 0-2 and yet still up in gold. And we saw Santorin and Dyrus try to come back to Bjergsen's lane. Wow. Now Lustboy looking to battle CoreJJ as a 3-level deficit because Dyrus is here, gets the knockback because he rampaged at the right time. Explosive Cask goes the wrong way, and the TP from Gamsu keeps him safe. Flash from CoreJJ kept him alive.
Some really nice plays by CoreJJ. Perfect timing on his heal with the KiWiKid kill that he was able to pick up, and then a great flash there to escape the gank. That was the whole Hecarim interaction, to use your Q to break the spell shield and still get the knockback. So Dyrus did that properly. Not much CoreJJ could have done to prevent getting knocked back by Hecarim, but then flashing the Gragas ultimate, exactly what CoreJJ needed to do to escape the gank. So pretty well played across all champions right there.
Yeah.
And CoreJJ comes out alive.
It's actually interesting. I know a while back there was like a debate, like what would a perfectly played game look like? And that's like just a small microcosm of it, where like Hecarim is going to stun the Sivir.
Hecarim's going to knock the Sivir back, but Sivir's also going to be able to flash the Gragas ult.
Yeah. So it was, it's just fun to see like when things are played perfectly, that's what you get the result.
Or Santorin could have body slam flashed into the Sivir with no spell shield and knocked him back during the duration of the stun.
Oh, she'd flash the body slam flash.
You would have
same result, bro.
And then you'd ult him.
Ah, good point. All right, you win. I agree with you one more time, Jatt. Look at you being smart and stuff.
Of course, all that happens within like a
0.03
third of a second, yeah.
All right, well, back to regular lanes. It's worth keeping in mind, we've talked about this matchup a few times. Kalista is supposed to have the advantage over Sivir.
It's been a lane swap game.
And Dignitas swapped it and then got a kill rather, when it swapped back to a 2-on-2.
Wildturtle miscalculated his rend a little bit. Something that also wouldn't happen in a perfectly played game.
True.
Yeah, we're going to stop these comparisons real quick.
They're fun, they're fun. Join me in my insanity, Jatt. Helios, done up. Lurking in the wings. Santorin revealing himself, though, of Dignitas.
Helios' first gank as a Team Dignitas team member.
And it's a flash 3-man stun for KiWiKid. Wildturtle gets bound. Black Shield keeps him safe from Lustboy, but Dyrus shows up. Explosive Cast knocks in Helios. Turtle gets a kill. Bardol actually disables his own turret, or sorry, disables the enemy turret.
Yep, making the dive much easier. Team Solomid now with the 5th member in the bottom lane approaching. So nice gank there by TSM, abusing the fact that Gamsu didn't have his teleport to match and the fact that they had bards. So a pretty indefensible gank there by Team Dignitas, mainly just executed well by TSM.
Yeah, good job then. TSM sitting on a 2,000 gold lead as that turret kill was grabbed off of the team fight victory. And with Morellonomicon done, Bjergsen might feel really good about this fight. Wildturtle still taking some damage. Helios smites. He does have flash, but does not think he has the damage.
Woo! Whee! CS is evened out in that lane as well. Wonder where Wildturtle will go. He goes boots 2 on the Kalista. The jump rank, the jump distance for Kalista is actually based on the boot rank, not your movement speed. So boots 2, early rush for Kalista, not only gives you attack speed to jump more often, but you get to jump farther because it's boot rank 2.
That's going to be a good thing for his kiting. He's also got the recurve bow in as well, so looks like he'll be doing BF sword straight into Hurricane. I do like early Hurricane builds. Sometimes even before finishing your first like attack damage, like major item.
And specifically in this matchup against the Sivir, he needs to be able to match the wave clear.
Yeah.
So he needs Hurricane very quickly. He got the BF sword because he had a big enough gold in lane. It's almost always worth it to pick up an early BF.
Definitely agree.
We're agreeing a lot today. It's great.
I know. Well, sometimes you just get smarter than normal, and then I end up agreeing with you,
That's
Jatt.
what happens?
Yeah. It's all on you. You've made great strides today, Jatt.
Great.
1,500 gold lead for Team Solomid. Bjergsen sitting on a small gold lead, or at least minion lead here. As Shiphtur does keep his turret alive. Looks like it's not too hard for this Kog'Maw to keep the wave clear up. TSM have mostly made plays around Dyrus roams, actually. He's been getting out of his lane, and due to that, the CS deficit in the top lane has gotten smaller. Gamsu's been catching up, but has not been having the same map impact that Dyrus has had.
Yeah, and no dragon taken now 15 minutes into the game, and Shiphtur has made it to Ludens on Kog'Maw. That generally means objective control for the team with the Kog'Maw if he gets blue buff.
Yeah.
Which is the critical thing.
He's also level 11 just now.
Yeah.
I don't know when the blue buff comes back up, but
really huge.
As far as monetary and experience gains go, this is the first time Kog'Maw becomes very scary. Santorin showing himself in the enemy jungle. Lustboy has to journey away. Good job, but Helios is around. Smite comes in. The TP from Gamsu. Shark lands. Lustboy is going to keep himself alive against Earth, but for how long? About 2 seconds. Shiphtur gets his second kill of the game. Dignitas in control of Dragon.
Yeah, they burned Sivir ult and Fizz ult, but that's for a kill. Totally worth at this point. Dyrus is now here. So Team Dignitas gonna try and force this dragon.
Oh man, binding into Kog'Maw
damage.
poke, and Helios comes in. Ignite gets KiWiKid another kill. Chased down on a Santorin. Dignitas look to be real contenders here, 5-1 in this game.
We said that mid lane matchup will be a lost matchup if Shiphtur can go even. He goes a little bit better than even, gets his Ludens, and then the instant that happens, he forces the fight. Bjergsen in.
Bjergsen goes really in. A lot of damage comes through. Ult's back, but not over the wall. Has to flash to get away. Unlikely steal coming in, and it will go to the red team. 1 kill answered back by Bjergsen, but Dignitas ahead.
Yeah. They're down 900 gold, but honestly, because of the 3 kills onto the late game monster of AP Kog'Maw, and the fact that that's a gold deficit despite being down turrets, means they're actually in pretty good shape, team composition-wise.
Absolutely. At this point in the game, after you recall for some mana, Sivir Kog can easily knock some turrets down, so those outer turrets are just kind of gold waiting to be picked up at this point.
It's if they can get the vision control as well.
True.
Because now this game's in a really unique spot because you rarely see a team that gets the early turrets but then loses a team fight around the dragon, because now Team Dignitas kind of has the team fight priority, assuming they can get picks like that, whereas TSM has the map control. So it's going to be very hard for Team Dignitas to actually find team fights since they are lacking that map control. Everywhere they go, they have to go much further from their points of safety, which are their turrets. Even the mid turret is extremely low. So still a lot of opportunity for Team Solomid to find fights, but some real danger of losing this game since Ludens Kog'Maw with 3 kills and the late game composition that some members of Team Dignitas have.
And it all means scary things for Team Solomid. The one team fight right after the big power spike for Kog'Maw, and Shiphtur so far showing up quite well. 3-0-1. Highest co-participation on the team, tied with his support and AD carry. Those 3 have been doing quite well all season long. And we're going to see CoreJJ jumped a little bit, but not taking meaningful damage.
There's a very early distortion upgrade onto Shiphtur's sorcery shoes. it's, I think because he has the early 3 kills, he's just looking for that extra mobility, knowing that Bjergsen needs to assassinate him, or Dyrus for that matter. Getting the cooldown reduction on his flash and the ghost. Just really high priority for Shiphtur this game. I think he wouldn't have gone this way if he wasn't ahead, but because he is, just staying alive is more important than getting that little bit more damage earlier.
I tend to agree. And really, like, the big power spike is Magic Pen plus Ludens in the first place. There's not... The gains get much smaller since then, so... I definitely do agree with you. I think it's a cool build. We'll see if TSM can keep the siege going. Oddly, they're sieging against Sivir. I feel like the waves will never die first for them. And you see Wildturtle chunked to half already. He does not have lifesteal yet. By going Hurricane, he didn't finish Bloodthirster, but he can get chunked out so much easier now. Santorin forced to smite to wave clear.
Yeah, TSM's in a very dangerous spot right here. Their team composition itself does not have very good wave clear. Bjergsen can kind of clear waves. Hecarim cannot. Kalista with the Hurricane can do it from a close range. But because they're against this AP Kog'Maw last pick, they're in some real trouble getting back here. If TSM was farther ahead, they'd have kill pressure to prevent some of this from happening, but they just don't right now.
Absolutely the case. So TSM feel like playing the split push game may work a bit better for them. They have sent Dyrus back to the top lane here. That top lane advantage, though, all but squandered as the gold lead is only 550 between those two top laners here. This is a game where Dyrus had literally double the guy's CS and a 2-level lead. And now the levels are
11
the same.
to 11.
And actually, Fizz is going to level up first. He's 12 in 3 seconds.
Yeah, we've already seen Gamsu's ability to create picks as well. When he teleported in, he killed Lustboy. Now the teleport timers are probably going to be the same.
Yeah, you got like 12 seconds on Gamsu's TP. Dyrus is up, but there's nothing worth teleporting to right now. So you're right, that's going to be an even match. We're going to see, interesting, Iceborne Gauntlet for Gamsu is his second item here.
Potentially, yeah.
And Sheet plus Cloth Armor, I have to imagine.
Cloth Armor.
Well, I guess he just bought the Cloth Armor to fight Hecarim. Maybe it still goes to Triforce. Bjergsen, though, in the battle against Gamsu. Fish is going to land. Explosive cast back, though, and there's not a lot of place for Fizz to go. That will be the pickup in the top lane, but mid's getting pushed down.
Yeah, that's one of those distraction plays. Gamsu as a tank, Fizz wants to be as annoying as possible, but now Team Dignitas gets the mid lane turret afterwards. This is what can potentially start a series of chain reactions. Dyrus trying to push up because of 3 people mid. Let's see how this plays out.
Right now it plays out as Bjergsen pushing the top lane with only 400 health, but it seems like because they see the rest of Dignitas, he is safe to push.
And they got the turret down so low earlier in the game, they end up making it a trade, which favors Team Solomid. They lose their mid lane strong, fortress hold, however you want to call it, with that mid lane turret going down, but they equalize the gold pretty nicely with that next one. This next dragon fight, TSM could not get caught. It's been very impressive for Shiphtur and Team Dignitas to get this Ludens Kog'Maw to the point where they can force these dragon fights. So the way Team Dignitas wins is by warding well, either getting a pick, mainly making sure Shiphtur can poke with his ultimate. But for Team Solomid, they have to be very quick with the way they enter here. They have to avoid all of the Kog'Maw poke because they don't have good enough sustain, just a Bard health pack here or there to help them out, that they almost have to fight immediately when this dragon comes up.
That sounds like a difficult task for Team Solomid, but they do have the home guard teleport up for Dyrus, so maybe that'll work out. He's got the Spectre's Cowl to tank some magic damage, then going for probably Frozen Heart, which will help against CoreJJ, and it puts it down to really just Shiphtur then for damage output, if that does happen. TSM are going to play the Dragon control game. They've been able to get a couple of wards gone and put quite a few down themselves. And one last recall looks like it'll come in. 18 seconds. Oh, just kidding.
Good poke.
Yeah, it's going to be late recalls now for TSM. And think about how cool Rek'Sai Kog'Maw is. Rek'Sai can spot them out for Kog'Maw to land the poke, even without vision.
It's really good synergy, as well as the blue buff coming up just now. Team Solomid not able to harass that, so Team Dignitas with a ton of advantages coming into this dragon fight. Bjergsen is just looking for an assassination, but I mean, most of it is spotted out, either by the Rek'Sai or the ghost in the jungle. More of Kog'Maw just raining terror.
Dyrus is recalling in order to get the home guard. Maybe he can stop this reign of terror.
Team Dignitas giving up a lot of ground here, and they can't necessarily push down the mid lane turret because they already took the outer tier.
Well, they're going to try anyway with a full wave for the entire team there, but Bjergsen split pushing the bot lane here. It's going to be a trade, maybe, but the turret's going to take a lot of damage. Looks like TSM going to be a bit slow to react, but maybe they're trying to pincher these guys in to look for and engage. Lustboy gets the ulti onto 2. Will the TP come in? Will there be an engage? There's Dyrus, goes for the ulti, knocks around CoreJJ and Shiphtur in the backline, forced to cut away, but Dyrus takes so much damage that he will drop, and Shiphtur's on a rampage. The chase on the Gamsu, they trade that one back, top laner for top laner. KiWiKid forced to flash away. Lustboy's here, can't land the damage though.
Yeah, they traded tanks. Both top laners went on the mid laners, and the teams just collapsed on those tanks. Now TSM kind of low. Shiphtur still alive, still with the summer spell. This dragon almost surely will result in a fight.
It's going to be a lot of damage at the very start. Bjergsen's going to land the stun to Helios. CoreJJ spell shield keeps him fine. Bjergsen pops the Zhonya's. Ult's back. He's nearly dead.
The dragon's still hitting them.
TSM about to die. One more hit would do it. Shiphtur doesn't land either of these spells. Santorin running for his life. Helios not far, but Dyrus is going to re-engage with Home Guard. He's going to look for Shiphtur. The damage comes through. He gets the shutdown. Will they get any more? Gamsu rejoins the fight as well, and Dyrus one hit from dead.
Literally one more living artillery on about 4 different people on TSM would have killed them. They're all still quite low. Dignitas still trying this dragon. They would have a smite on Gamsu, but he used them in the fight. No smites up for this dragon. Santorin does have his for a potential steal.
And he's going to get bound out of range. That's turret number 2 for Dignitas, and the kill comes through for Fizz. A trade from Dyrus. He's running away. One more hit will do it, but Bjergsen takes him down.
Gamsu on the backside kills Kalista as well, and now time for some action. Oh,
goodbye. Bjergsen died, respawned, came back in. No, sorry, actually ran away, recalled, and walked back in. Burns the summoners, get 2 kills back up, 4-0 and 1.
Yeah, we knew that was going to be a highly contestable dragon. Team Dignitas does come out on top, but because of the chaos that happened within there, and honestly the timing of Dyrus' teleport, they barely come out on top. Once again, if Shiphtur would have landed 1 or 2 more living artilleries within that fight, maybe he wasn't in range for all of them. Hard to see in that really long, chaotic team fight, but it's on a razor's edge, this game.
That's incredibly close. It's a fun to watch game as well, but it ends right now with TSM up 3,500 gold.
Yeah, so this was the later fight after they were already teleported and already picked up a kill. Santorin was there because he wanted the smite steal. He was the only one on the map with his smite up. Dyrus rampages through one person, gets around Gamsu because Gamsu was trying to get the kill on Gragas. And mainly, in fights this long, it's really hard to track death timers from base. Nearly impossible to know when someone's coming through, especially when you don't have the perfect ward coverage all the way up to their base like breadcrumbs. And that's what ended up happening. Team Dignitas stuck around a little bit long for the dragon. It allowed Bjergsen to come in and now pick up his 4th kill.
I actually want to point out a cool little mechanic that Bjergsen did there. So he got into melee range, tossed the Q out for the slow. After 2 more auto attacks, triggers his passive to slow his opponent and haste him, which allowed him to zip past and make sure that the second half of Q went through Fizz to make sure he got the kill there. Just little things to see from Ekko players.
And this will also be another one of these big tests. We see a lot of Ekkos start off the game well, but we almost never see them carry the game.
Or win.
Or win, for that matter. He has a losing record in competitive play in the major regions. He's seen play LPL, EULCS, and 0-1 now in the NALCS.
Yep.
You were correct about the Iceborne Gauntlet on Gamsu, so not the completely traditional Cinderhulk Smite Fizz. A lot of times they basically build exactly the same things as Hecarim. So Cinderhulk, Frozen Heart, Spirit Visage, and Trinity Force as 4 core items.
That's true. Well, looks like TSM start Baron, but then immediately stop. So Dignitas was wise to their ways. The reveal comes in. Bjergsen will not land the stun into KiWiKid. Gets a shield though. And jumps to a ward that dodges the Dark Binding. More ward clears come through, and TSM really want to take control of the Baron area. Bjergsen still in the split push, 254 minutes on him. He's got the highest farm in the game. Constantly farming these side waves. Level 16 as well, highest level in the game as well.
And the map pressure advantage we talked about earlier is one of the main reasons that TSM is still winning this game. 4 turrets to 1. And it's allowing them access to better wards and slightly safer farming spots. Of course, the one game Team Solomid has lost this split was against Incarnation's Kog'Maw. Now we have Shiphtur's Kog'Maw, who's off to a much better start, even stronger Kog'Maw. A lot of the win conditions here for Team Dignitas revolve around Shiphtur and his ability to get off poke.
And he's so far done a decent job of it.
He's done a great job.
Yeah, 4 kills. He's got the finished Seraphs as well. Void stat. Ooh, nice.
Again, just...
Yeah, outplayed.
Outplayed, man. Slick use of little ways to farm. At this point, with Ludens, farming is very easy, but every little bit counts, denying the opponent as well.
I mean, those two are the ones kind of racing for highest CS in the game. They kind of keep passing each other back and forth. Right now, the lead is with Bjergsen, and he's looking for KiWiKid now.
So I'm waiting to see a Bard ult into Ekko W to make sure it procs for the stun. If TSM could pull off a combo like that on a priority target, that would be one of their big ways to winning the game. That's almost one of the only ways they can actually get in on Shiphtur properly, is if they somehow catch him in stasis and chain lock him.
Part of the reason he went Distortion, I imagine, to make sure he has a flash or a ghost to get away, yeah. So everyone kind of reading the situations pretty well, but you're right, the hard engage, you know, Hecarim has, I would say, good engage, Bard has good engage, Gragas is okay. I feel like there's enough tools for TSM to break in, but Dignitas have been playing it quite well. I mean, keep in mind, Black Shield plus Sivir ulti, you can't even catch those oftentimes. So Dignitas are able to kite quite well. They've built around Shiphtur.
I like this Team Dignitas team composition. Great damage, good mobility, frontline and Fizz and Rek'Sai, Black Shield to prevent some initiations. So Void Staff also being completed on Shiphtur, and soon to be level 16.
That will be very important for the man. Hopefully they don't siphon off too much of his experience, because the range disparity is really big. Kog'Maw, probably the most level dependent of all the mid laners. I feel like the rank of ulti has the biggest change compared to other champions in the role.
Whenever your range increases on the ultimate too,
yeah,
there's very few ultimates in the game that are like that. Urgot ultimate's another one where you can position reverse or something from further away. Like a game-changing effect like that, not just a slightly more powerful spell.
And right there, Dyrus, the max range binding hits him. He's right in the face of KiWiKid, who pops Talisman of Ascension to ascend up the map and try to get away. Bjergsen finds Helios, though. A fair bit of damage. No stun will land. They keep getting away from the W in time.
Yeah, flash down on the jungler, though. With the Dragon coming up right now, this is a very important Dragon for Team Solomid to get.
Yeah.
If they go for Dragon, they have to burst it down very quickly, because if they stick around and allow Shiphtur to poke them, they're going to be in trouble.
They will be missing, though, Tempered Fate on this one as Bard ulted and missed. And Dignitas rushing Baron. They're letting TSM get Dragon and hoping they can get some meaningful progress here. Hope they can get the fight started. It's going down rather quickly. Dragon goes down to Kalista.
And there's no Bard ultimate to slow down this Baron take, because they've already used it and missed. Dyrus is going to have to go in pretty much blind. They have vision. They got to go.
They have vision. Here comes the dive on in. No, it gets picked up by Helios in time. Bjergsen pops the Zodius, and the engage has started as already. Lustboy has died. A double bind is massive. They're going to chase down into Gamsu. Dyrus takes a ton of damage. Gamsu lives somehow, and the cleanup may just happen, but TSM have already picked up 2 or are on the chase.
Yeah, they kill 2, they lose 1, and the Baron. Somehow Gamsu escapes with his life. Really bold call there by Team Dignitas, but they bursted it down quickly enough that TSM could not follow. I like the aggression there from Dignitas with the call, but they have to make it back to their turrets quickly.
And it's going to give some time for TSM to push 4v3. Baron or not, you're still outnumbered. 1 hit, and they don't kill the turret. They get the stun on Helios, though. Gamsu taking some damage as well, but no turret will actually fall.
Yeah, I have to point out Lustboy's double bind in that fight as well, but then also the fact that Shiphtur stayed alive the entire time and rained some really quality poke down onto TSM. This is actually a really close and good game that we're seeing from both sides. What you're expecting if you see a Team Solomid versus Team Dignitas matchup from last split is definitely not the game that we're getting right now. Team Dignitas 3-1 this split, bringing in a new jungler. Definitely on the path to some significant improvement here.
Absolutely correct. I mean, this is them battling the defending champions of North America and really battling them very close, all things considered. Dignitas, a team that faced relegations. They went to Game 5 in that tournament. They picked up a jungler who also faced relegations and lost them. And now they're battling the #1 team in North America.
And flanks are kind of the name of the game right here. Team Dignitas wants to prevent the flanks. TSM wants to make them. Dyrus does have his teleport up. He's getting to be very, very tanky on Hecarim. That's why it's dangerous for Team Dignitas to push up the mid lanes, because they haven't had enough map control for wards to expire behind them. So anywhere Team Dignitas pushes, they're risking a home guard Hecarim from any side. They don't have nearly enough sweeping capabilities to get rid of those wards. The main way you set that up is if you have map control for over 3 minutes and the wards just time out.
Yeah. Well, maybe the wards will time out.
Yeah, maybe, but at the same time, they pushed up. Now they all back. TSM has time to invade again and get the wards down outside of their outer turrets. So they always have the wards out to make the teleport plays.
You can see that Baron fight one more time. Dyrus dives in. He can't land the smite in time. It's a really good engagement by Bjergsen. He kills off the support before he gets to ult.
He really does. And then also Shiphtur, you can see how much attention Dyrus wants to pay to him, but they just can't quite get to him. And like, that's one of the crazy things about AP Kog'Maw. He still does a lot of damage just auto-attacking here once you do close into his engagement range. Beautiful double bind there by Lustboy's Bard that created the rest of those kills.
And definitely powerful stuff coming through, and it was a team fight win for TSM, if only a little bit late, as Baron had already been picked up. But Baron times out here. It gave Dignitas some gold back into the game. But these guys are still down in turrets, and they're nearly down another one, as this has maybe like 12 health, 32.
Which is crazy when you consider the wave clear capabilities that Team Dignitas has. Sivir, Kog'Maw, and even the tank Fizz. They should be clearing these waves, but Team Solomid obviously had that great macro game to open, getting 1.5 turrets before Team Dignitas responded.
Dignitas will get number 3 right here, though, when they choose to hit that turret 1 or 2 more times. CoreJJ finally walks up. They get some damage into Dyrus. But Bjergsen answers on the other side of the map. The split push Ekko, 342 minion kills in a 34.5-minute game. He is continuing to scale up 5-0-3, and this is honestly the kind of game that we needed to see from the enemy esports squad, where they were facing a very scary team fight comp and needed a split push to win. We're seeing Bjergsen do just that and just get around this whole Kog'Maw wave clear deal.
And also we saw there the effectiveness of Helios is going to be very muted for the rest of this game. Very, very mobile champions that he's against. Early ganking and early pressure. Mainly, Helios is most useful for his tremor sense right now. He can't really do much to Kalista. Everyone else can also dance away from him fairly easily. Maybe as a form of peel, but everyone is so mobile on TSM. It's going to be tricky for Helios to be involved.
Yeah, we'll see if he can do anything except maybe just peel Bjergsen, get a knockup, and maybe that'll be enough time for the Kog'Maw to do something cool. But meanwhile, Solomid still sitting on this 5,000 gold lead. They lost Baron. They have to deal with this level 16, 17 now AP Kog'Maw, who's got all the items in the world. And Solomid's still able to play the map aggressively. Every single wave is on Dignitas' side of the map.
A lot of it has to do with the vision control, you know, the 6 turrets being down, but because of that, the wards that TSM could get in to the jungle now, and we talked about flanks being a danger for Team Dignitas. Well, here's a flank.
The ulti's gonna not land though. Black Shield early on to Shiphtur. Are we gonna find any kind of engage? Sivir knocked back. Santorin forced to retreat. Bjergsen running backwards as well. His clone not anywhere offensive right now. Another W comes in, looks for KiWiKid, gets him. Now to chase on him, but the Shark drops him dangerously low. The Bard Q will not do much, but Wildturtle's already here to play cleanup. 2 kills picked so far. 1 more stun attempt for the Ekko. Wildturtle duels Gamsu and loses it, but Rek'Sai drops 3 kills to 1. Gamsu to retreat, but Bjergsen.
Some fancy footwork. Dyrus is teleporting in behind with home guards.
And he's gonna find Shiphtur and take him down. 4 kills in the fight. Gamsu gets away, but that is clearly a win for TSM.
What a crazy fight. Bard opens, not landing the ultimate, but it's a zoning Bard ult that pushes Team Dignitas towards him, and they decide to go in anyways. We wanted to see some Ekko carries in this game, but that was Kalista doing work in that last fight. Wildturtle doing so much damage, and with these death timers, TSM takes a big inhibitor down.
That is absolutely massive. So now Dignitas forced to play the back side of the map and continually defend their base. Dragon is already back up, but TSM realized they cannot risk Baron being in the second half of this one. Dyrus will try to solo the Dragon. Gamsu stops the recall. Lustboy sure to die. And that makes now a 5v4 on the other side around. Dignitas have time.
Yeah, they would have time to go and get this Dragon and put themselves up 3 dragons to 1 for that nice little boost.
They could risk Baron without the support too.
Maybe, but we got to watch this replay. So first off, Bard ult misses. Also, the Black Shield on Shiphtur gets used, so it wouldn't have caught him anyways. Just watch Bjergsen in this fight. He's using his move speed to dash in and out so much. Then he dashes in. Big thing about that was Wildturtle to create the opportunity with his Rendo, slowing them down. Then TSM just kind of pushed through. Since Team Dignitas didn't get the initial setup that they needed, that was really massive. But look at this Baron. Team Dignitas in the side. Looks like they're going to be securing it.
And TSM not the wiser at all. So Lustboy caught on a greedy recall. Great play by Gamsu. Earns his team the Baron. It's still a 6,000 gold deficit for Dignitas. They're down the inhibitor, but they've still got Dragon 2 under their belts from earlier into the game. And with Baron, they could definitely push. It's actually worth pointing out the threat that Bjergsen has. In that last team fight, I counted. CoreJJ literally auto-attacked twice, all team fight. He ran back and forth being like, I'm afraid of Ekko, I'm afraid of Ekko. Okay,
yeah.
I died.
Meanwhile, Wildturtle.
Yeah.
All of the auto attacks.
Absolutely. Or even worth triple.
Yeah, no magic resist on CoreJJ. Trying to live based on his spell shield and basically playing very, very passive. Super interesting game here.
Yeah.
Bjergsen, if he can get his death cap, takes, or even Illudens, but death cap probably the better item here, takes his damage one step higher, meaning he wouldn't really need his ultimate to just blow somebody up. Meanwhile, death cap was completed by Shiphtur. AP ratio is not that amazing for AP Kog'Maw, but still relatively impactful, especially for his Q and his E.
And it's going to be enough to continue threatening. We do have the Quicksilver Sash come through for Wildturtle, so we did make a pit stop to be able to drop the fish or to drop Morgana CC. And a little bit of magic resist maybe helps him survive Kog'Maw. But Sorcerer's Elixir definitely going to help Kog's damage either way.
Yeah, once again, the team with Baron, because they've been losing the team fights and because they have not been able to stop the TSM flanks, are pushed back into their base. They're just too worried about being flanked out here. I mean, a lot of credit to Dyrus for always, he's turned a couple of fights here at the end because he escapes with a low amount of health, goes back to base, comes in with home guard TP at the end, and then just eats the Kog'Maw.
And it's impressive as well. I agree with you that Dyrus has been having a really good impact this game. Just TSM's ability to play the map. You look down the line and every single role is winning in farm. And in some cases by a significant margin, like Dyrus is plus 60 as his Bjergsen. TSM's just getting more farm. That's why the gold lead is this big. 3 kills versus 2 Barons is very much the favor of Barons, but the extra turret kills that they've been able to split push down and just the extra farm they're getting means that TSM are the team with the lead, even against that aforementioned Baron buff.
And it feels like because Team Dignitas got the Baron as they were trading for the Dragon, this game is in a significant lull. Team Solomid won't really find fights unless Team Dignitas leaves their base. It looks like they're actually leaving their base right now, though. Maybe they catch Lustboy again? Ooh. He had all the saved up move speed.
From the chime pickups, yeah.
He's also at 63 chimes collected, so when you hit 55, you get a third meep to follow you around. Lustboy's saving a lot of his auto attacks against champions there, so 3 auto attacks in a row will apply a slow to an opponent. Actually a significant amount of peel in team fights.
Yeah, he can really like slow Gamsu down and keep him from staying on Wildturtle. He'll have to use his move blocks, which will leave him vulnerable to everything else. Baron buff looks like it has timed out now, so Solomid might be back on the way up. Shiphtur just consumed his blue elixir, thinking there will be an imminent fight here.
Bjergsen's also hit 6 items. So it's a 723 AP Ekko with a Lich Bane.
Yeah.
We wanted to see if Ekko could carry a game or a late game team fight. We may be about to find out.
Yeah. Bjergsen's E auto attack does 700 damage just from Lich Bane and dispel damage.
That'll do it.
Just from that.
If he gets in range of Shiphtur's Kog'Maw, there's no magic resist on him.
Yep. I think Sword Void Staff makes him do true damage. So good luck with this one. They're going to engage onto Wildturtle. The Gamsu flank will get stopped by Tempered Fate, but how long will they get tempered as Wildturtle is going to get picked off by CoreJJ, but here comes Bjergsen. Wow! Bjergsen evaporates, can't pop anything. So Dyrus is here for the cleanup. He does knock down the AD carry. He's running, but Gamsu will kill him. It's a 4v2 and a push for Dignitas.
You can play the map for 42 minutes, but if your 2 carries get ganged up on and killed at the start of the fight, you will lose right there. Team Dignitas, they come out of their base, they pop the Sivir ultimate, they kill Wildturtle, then Team Solomid tries to jump in for assassinations, is unsuccessful, and this could be the game.
So now it's solo split push Bard. Lustboy can't do anything but hope to push a turret down, and now he's going to recall. Fate's Call still far away. Tempered Fate, I should say. And it's going to be the push in towards the inhibitor number 1.
There is a cannon minion in this wave, so it's harder for Santorin to clear. He needs to be using these barrels to clear the minions, otherwise this game will end.
And they're going to try right now. 15 seconds on Wildturtle. Dignitas to prove they are contenders for the throne. KiWiKid is low, pops the Zonias, now into the Nexus, and will there be enough damage? It does not look like it. 3 members alive. Wildturtle respawns, but that's going to be the game, and Team Dignitas are in number 1.
Who would have thought, from relegations to now halfway through week 3, the sole number 1 team in the North American LCS. Helios' first game with the squad, Shiphtur's great AP Kog'Maw, and a defeat of TSM there for Team Dignitas.
Man, it's been a while since Dignitas fans could feel like they were supporting one of the top teams in North America. A 4-1 start in the North American LCS to take down defending champions Team Solomid. Helios finally finding himself in the playoffs here in North America, or in a team that might look like they make it there.
Yeah.
What a good look for this team.
It was such a close game, back and forth. We knew the late game potential of this Team Dignitas team. We knew the Team Solomid was putting so much pressure, just keeping Team Dignitas contained and constantly threatening them with flanks. But then, 42 minutes into the game, Wildturtle gets caught by a Sivir ultimate, and Bjergsen tries to go hero mode, fails, and Team Dignitas just pushes down the mid lane and ends the game.
Well, unsurprising, the damage graph does show Kog'Maw leading, and as a poke champion, it's what we expect. We had an Ekko that was 7-1-6. Just a minute ago, he was 7-0-6, and yet again, Ekko having a great time. He's still pushing really well, and then in team fights, he's having a hard time pushing it through.
A lot of things could have changed that game. Looking at that last fight, Bjergsen underestimated the damage that was going to come in from Team Dignitas. He didn't use his Ekko ultimate or his Zonias before going down, and that's a 60-second death timer that late into the game.
Yeah.
Team Dignitas moves to 4-1, thanks to a very close and impressive victory against Team Solomid.
Yeah, very close and impressive. The fact that they were able to stick with it, and they made so many tough calls. How many times have Dignitas been afraid of the B word? And both Barons paid off this game. I mean, right throughout the history of this team, Barons have cut teams down so hard.
They traded 2 Dragons for 2 Barons, which ended up being so critical. Because if they give up a single Baron against Team Solomid, they probably lose their inhibitors, since Team Solomid already had the turret advantage and a big gold lead. So the only way Dignitas stayed in that game was by preventing the siege from TSM with Baron, and all the gold you get from Baron versus the no gold gains of Dragon, just enough to make it through that one.
Yeah, a couple individual picks in a row set up the entire map for Dignitas, and they completely capitalized on it. Grats on their win, but for more, we're going to send it down to Riv.